Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Wolfstalker25 and today I got a brand new set of action figure reviews for you guys. These are the Hasbro Marvel Legends Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 or Cosmo Build-A-Figure Wave, Adam Warlock, and Kraglin. Kraglin's in his like Ravager look kind of from the movie, and then Adam Warlock is in his unique look. These are kind of two standouts of the wave, in a way being they're the only two that are unique. One thing I didn't really say in the previous reviews for Star-Lord and Drax and Nebula and Mantis is these two don't have that uniform, don't have the shared uniform that they're wearing. Obviously, Adam doesn't, but Kraglin could have, and he doesn't. So a little bit of a shame that they don't like have that uniform look that they do, but at the same time, these are the only two that stand out besides Cosmo being unique looks. That's kind of one thing that the Guardians uniforms do, is they kind of take away each of the individual characters' uniqueness and personality. I feel like instead of having them all in, like, you know, if you were to have Star-Lord, you know, looking like he does here where he's got no uniform, but this is kind of before they've almost like settled on being a team. So this is like, you know, kind of cool to have these in the wave, but also kind of odd because the rest of the wave looks so uniform together. But first up, we'll talk about Kraglin, since Kraglin kind of has, I think, some reuse from what I've heard and seen. He's a little bit of a bummer, like the arm kind of is so stiff and straight there. I guess we'll talk about his accessory first before we talk about the figure. So he does get the arrow. I think, if I remember, I don't have Yondu, so I think from what I've seen and heard, this is the same arrow as what Yondu had. I think the trail should be a little bit darker, a little bit more red. I'm kind of a little bit bummed out that he doesn't have a separate piece with just the arrow, not the trail, so like he could store it with just the arrow and not like an active power mode. Kraglin also has the added accessory of this little teeny tiny knife that fits in this little holster back here, and then the arrow obviously can holster in here if you really wanted it to. It could be holstered in like that, which doesn't really make much sense because it's got this huge energy trail. That's what I mean by like the energy trail should have been removable, or they should have included an extra arrow. It's kind of one whole theme about this Guardians wave is they're all like really lacking on accessories. Sculpt wise, the Sean Gunn head does look very nice. I feel like the likeness is, oh Jesus, the likeness is there. I feel like the arrow should, or the fin on the head should be a little bit darker maybe. I do like the metallic bit to it. I almost feel like we're never going to get another Kraglin, so I kind of almost wish they would have included, let me raise the camera a little bit. I kind of almost wish they would have included some alternate heads here with him. Maybe a volume 2 or 1 Kraglin where he's got his hair. Because I think he's got hair in those movies before he shaves his head to put the fin on. You know, maybe a finless head with the hair would have been nice. He's kind of a little lacking on the facial hair department. He's supposed to have more facial hair that comes up through here. And it should be a little bit more noticeable. But yeah, I feel like that, like sculpt wise, it looks good, but I would have rather had some extra heads as well with Kraglin. Volume 2 head and maybe a whistling head, since you could see him like using the arrow, since they didn't give him a non-powered arrow. But yeah, sculpt wise looks pretty good overall. I feel like the suit is a little too dark, maybe should have been a little bit more leathery looking, a little bit. Maybe it's a little too bright. I don't know. Camera wise, it looks too bright. In person, it almost looks kind of dark. But yeah, I kind of like it. I just wish it was a little bit more detail. I feel like we're missing some paint on here somewhere. Like I feel like the arm should have had something, or maybe through here something else. I don't know. But yeah, I do like him. But articulation wise for him, sculpt wise, and then the back is very, very plain. Not much going on here. I think I like this arm the most, just because it's so like it stands out. It's got the gunmetal and the silver, and then unfortunately you can't really see it, but it does have like the Guardians or Ravager logo there. So yeah. All right, articulation wise, arms can go up this far for them both. So there you go, very nice. Upper bicep cut on the both of them. Double jointed pinned arms on both, in case you are curious, since they are like kind of different arms. They can both close up that much. Head is on a dumbbell. Unfortunately, it's on a disc, so he can only really look up that far and then down that much. Really not at all. A little bit of side to side. Obviously, could do a full 360 there. Wrist do swivel and hinge. He doesn't have any fists, which is fine. I think these hands are perfectly fine for him. I almost wish they were trigger finger cut instead of just being open grabby hands, but that's fine. They swivel and hinge, horizontal hinges on the both of them. Upper diaphragm, he doesn't really get much forward and back, as that's it. Really can't do much. Side to side, tiny bit. Could probably do a full 360 on it. I'm not going to. No waist cut. I wish he had a waist cut as well. Legs go up that far. Back actually that much. Kraglin on the splits, pretty good. Upper thigh cut, double jointed, pinned knees, unfortunately. No boot cut. Ankles go back that far. Forward that much. It does have the wonderful ankle pivot. A little bit of a bummer with Kraglin. He I feel like he looks so like weird proportion wise. I don't know if that's how he looks, if that's how Sean Gunn looks in the movie and looks in real life, but I feel like the action figure just like looks almost too scrawny and too lanky. Like, it's not like the end of the world and a bad thing, but I feel like he's a little just kind of too skinny. And like the legs look very long and twiggy or whatever, but I wish there was a little bit more, you know, thickness on his legs, kind of a little bit more meat on the bones there, because it kind of just barely looks like the pants should be like over legs. I guess he kind of looks like he's in skinny jeans almost in a way. And I feel like he could have used some sort of ab crunch or something to add some more there. But all right, let's get to Adam now. Adam, I don't know his actor's name. I do apologize. But Adam, sculpt wise, looks pretty good. The face is so serious. I wish he had, like, I mean, he's very serious in the movie, but again, I wish this came with an alternate head, maybe an alternate set of hands. He does look very short in comparison kind of to Kraglin. I mean, well, we're kind of blurred there, but it looks kind of short. He's very like skinny. He's very like a thin character, very Vision looking, like, almost in a way. So I do like the head sculpt. I wish, like I said, we got a separate one. One little bit of a bummer about mine is, as you can see, the triangles don't line up. They're just ever so slightly shifted to the left. It just the cape need to be pulled just a little bit more to the right. So now the triangle doesn't line up all the way down from here to here. It's just off-centered, which I don't know if it's just my brain, but it slightly irks me. Maybe it'll irk you guys too now that you've seen it. So yeah, a little bit of a bummer there. But sculpt-wise, he looks great. I like the gold that they did with the body. I feel like the skin tone maybe could have been a little bit shinier, or I don't know, maybe a slightly different color. I don't know if this is exact color from the movie. I'd have to like take a look at it, you know, up next to a picture. But yeah, looks great. I wish the cape was not the rubbery, harder plastic. I wish it was more of like, I don't know, I wish it was honestly a cloth cape, but whatever, it is what it is. They never give us cloth capes. So, articulation wise, Adam can bring his arms out that far. Really not anymore because of the shoulder pad here. Upper bicep cut. Double jointed, pinless elbows, very nice on Adam. Can get him up that far. And he does have wrists that swivel horizontally and hinge as well. I do wish he had an extra set of hands as well. And his hands are very tiny. But granted, I guess they do say in the movie Adam is like very young, because he's like kind of just out of the cocoon. So maybe he's still like supposed to look kind of like a teenager and be like kind of small. The head is on a dumbbell, not the disc and hinge, so he could look down that far, up that much, which is kind of a bummer. You wish you could get that head looking up more. He really would have benefited from a disc hinge, because right here he can't look up anymore because his head, his hairline, and then his cape. So yeah, kind of a shame. Then the diaphragm could get you forward that much, really not at all. Back, he could go back a bit, but when you go back, you have this big ol' honking gap here, which just looks weird. Side that much, each side, but you break up the lines here, so it's like you don't really even want to do that. No waist cut, unfortunately, where he could have probably benefited from it. Him on the splits that far. Legs go forward that much. Back really not at all. Upper thigh cut. Now this leg is like super locked for me. It's like super tight, so we're not really going to bend that one right now because I don't want to struggle with it and possibly break it. Legs go up that far. Double jointed pinless knees for the knees. But yeah, this knee is like super stuck on this one. Ankles back that far. I probably just scraped up the back of his ankle a little bit. Yeah. Forward that much. And then he does have the wonderful ankle pivot. These ankles are like super ratcheted. So like they're very stiff, which is kind of good, I suppose. So yeah, there's Adam, there's Kraglin. I really like the both of these. Like I said, they feel very unique and different in a wave of all uniformed characters. So height-wise, how tall do they stand? Kraglin, to the top of his fin is just over 7 inches tall. Top of his head is about 6.5 inches tall, and then Adam is about 6 3/4 inches tall. Or no, 6.5, my bad. So there you go. That's your size comparison wise with just your your height on them, and that's your look at them. So we'll do some size comparisons really quick. SH Figuarts Goku, McFarlane Warhammer 40K Space Marine. I always like kind of forget who makes that one. Jazzware Halo Spartan Collection, Bandai Anime Heroes War Greymon, and then we'll bring out really quick the Mythic Legion Black Knight as well over there. So there you go. There's a look at all of them. Let me get these guys out of here. And then we got the 1000 Toys Halo Master Chief. In case you want to make Master Chief a guardian of the galaxy. This character probably could be a guardian. This is the Jazzware, the Visitor from the Fortnite line. He doesn't do a good job standing. I said in one of the previous reviews, I'm kind of recording them all on the same day. I might be retiring him from the reviews soon. Maybe I'll bring a different character in from the Jazzware Fortnite stuff. Or if you guys don't care if Jazzware Fortnite's represented anymore, since the line's kind of dead. But then again, the Hasbro version seems like it's kind of dead now too. Let me know if you really do want it kept in the reviews for future reviews. So there you go with Figma Samus, Mezco Stealth Iron Man as well, in case you want to ever get any Mezcos or Figma versions of Marvel characters, if they even make any Figma ones anymore. And then up next we got the rapid fire of the Hasbro ones. So we got Fortnite, Victory Royale, The Foundation, Mighty Morphin, Red Ranger for Power Rangers, Star Wars Black Series, Captain Rex, and lastly we have the G.I. Joe Classified Snake Eyes, in case you ever want to make any of them a Guardian, or have the Guardians cross over, or a figure big mosh pit party of all these different brands and lines. Up next we do have the comic book Black Suit Spider-Man, and we have America Chavez from Doctor Strange. So if you did want to see a teenager scale body mold next to them, or a comic book, there you go. So there's a look at all that, and then we're going to get a look at the rest of the characters from this wave. Let me just kind of do a little bit of a desk cleanup here. So yeah, rest of the wave looks pretty great. We do have Star-Lord, Chris Pratt, in his uniform here. Then we have Nebula, Mantis, and Drax. So there's a look at all like the human style big figures from the wave. Then we have Rocket and Cosmo, and I really love Cosmo in this movie. I will save my thoughts on the figure for the review, which will be next. And then since I don't have Groot yet, and I'm not going to have Groot for a while because I am playing clearance chicken on Groot, I'm not paying $38 for that Groot, which is inaccurate looking. Here is Teenage Groot from the Love and Thunder wave, and here is the original Build-A-Figure Groot. So if you did want to have any of the different looks, like if you want to say the big swole Groot grows up into that, you know, at some point in time, there's your look. Or if you ever wanted to do like maybe a, I don't know, Secret Wars combination of Guardians, where like different Guardians from different eras all meet up together, there's your look at all of them. Pretty great though. I really enjoy all these figures, and for $24.99, I really hate the price, and I hate that Cosmo's the Build-A-Figure, because Cosmo definitely, like, if I designed this wave, honestly, personal opinion, big swole Groot would be the Build-A-Figure. That gives you a head, body, 2 legs, 2 arms, so 6 figures right there. And then if you do the wings, that's a separate piece. So 7 figures for the whole wave. So realistically, what I would have done would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters in the wave. Put the High Evolutionary in the wave, Rocket in the wave. So yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Would have done 7. Cosmo separately. Would have taken Kraglin out of the wave, put Kraglin and Cosmo, since they kind of interact a lot in the movie, put them in a 2-pack together with those two. I would have thrown High Evolutionary in the wave, possibly even thrown Gamora in the wave, taken out Adam Warlock, and then thrown Adam Warlock in a 2-pack with Aisha, because we don't have Aisha. She kind of could be a figure in the Marvel Legends line. I mean, I'd buy her. And then High Evolutionary in the wave, because he's the big bad in the movie. And then you take out the 2 unique looking figures and put all like the Guardians in there. And then Cosmo isn't not a Build-A-Figure, and then maybe it could have been a little bit more accurate. But yeah, that's what I probably would have done, is thrown them, made Groot the Build-A-Figure because he's bigger. But then again, people might complain because it's like, oh, we've had a Build-A-Figure Groot before, but like, who cares? I mean, if they ever gave us a comic book Groot, which they've given us one before, I wouldn't mind if they gave us a comic book Build-A-Figure Groot, because we kind of need it. So yeah, that's it for these characters. Very light on accessories, non-existent on Adam Warlock except for the Cosmo piece, and you get the little knife and the arrow, which is very nice, I guess, but I don't know, wish we would have had more on Kraglin's side. So one thing I forgot really quick, if you are curious and you haven't seen the Guardians movie already, there's a little bit of a spoiler warning here, so maybe skip ahead by like a minute or so, just because I'm about to show something that's kind of spoilery for the end, like credit scene of the Guardians. So if you haven't seen it, maybe skip ahead a minute and continue the video. So yeah, spoiler warning over. End of the Guardians movie, post-credit scene, we see both of these 2 characters a part of the new Guardians roster in a Guardians of the Galaxy uniform. So if you were curious, if you could do some head swaps here, I showed this off in the Star-Lord and Drax review, but Adam Warlock's head does work on the Star-Lord body. Unfortunately, the head looks a little bit small, so I don't think this one really works as well. I was a half tempted, honestly, to buy an extra Star-Lord for Adam and like maybe paint the neck gold. I don't think I'm gonna do that, just because like this almost looks a little too wonky, like the proportions don't look there. It almost looks like a little bit too much neck, head looks a little too small, and the hands fit on this body, but they're a little too small. So I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna do that swap, but this one I might do. I might buy an extra, maybe an extra Kraglin, at least an extra Star-Lord, because if you put the Sean Gunn head on here, that looks good. That looks solid, and I really like him in that full Guardians look. I might almost go a step further and take this bandolier from this Kraglin and see if it'll fit on Star-Lord, and maybe give him to where he has the arrow as well. Otherwise, maybe just find a way to like tack the arrow on here behind the back, and then you have Kraglin here. Now the head is kind of sitting a little bit higher on the peg. If you did push the ball joint fully in, that's what it would look like. He looks very no neck here, so I feel like you just ever so slightly put the ball on there to give him that look with the neck still. So yeah, that's it for that. Hopefully you found that helpful by any means, and we'll get back to the rest of the video. So that's going to do it for me today. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the review. Hopefully you found it helpful by any means. Did you guys pick up any of these characters? Honestly, I was originally planning on playing Clearance Chicken on Kraglin, just because I didn't feel like that many people would buy him. But I ended up just getting him because I wanted Cosmo, and I figured, you know, why not? Got him and Nebula at a Target and everybody else at GameStop. So that's going to do it today. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you haven't done so already, would always appreciate a like on the video and a subscribe if you're new and haven't done so. It does help me out a lot. I always and do greatly appreciate it, and I will catch you all in the next one. So see you, everybody. Bye.